Hi, I'm Jessica Dobson, and you are watching Arts and Crafts with Bo.
Yeah, it is me. It's totally me. I think it's just so strange to go from a free-flowing conversation to be like, and now.
Totally. And now what you're going to watch is hopefully good.
There's nothing in this mug.
Yeah.
Is there anything in the mug?
There's a little bit, yeah. I kind of anxious sipped half of it pretty quick. Yeah. So, by day and by night, I play in a band called Deep Sea Diver with my husband Peter. So it's kind of nonstop because we never know when to turn it off. There's always something to talk about, something to do, something to write, something to create. And additionally, I've been a musician for, my goodness, I mean, ever since I was 5. That's when I started playing piano. So for a long time. And picked up guitar when I was 11. Started playing in bands when I was 16 and haven't stopped. I find a lot of joy in playing guitar predominantly. It's my freest instrument. You're not sitting down behind a keyboard, which I love playing keys too, but it's, I think, my favorite form of expression. And, you know, we've been doing this band, Deep Sea Diver, for, I guess the first record came out in 2012. But kind of predating that, Deep Sea Diver was just a moniker for my solo project. So I did like an EP in 2009, and then it became a band. And now it's 2019, so I guess it's been 10 years, which is crazy. But yeah, I've played in other bands. I got my start, I guess, playing for others. As Beck's guitarist for the Modern Guilt tour, I got to play lead guitar for him in that band, and that was wild. I was 22, and then shortly thereafter, played guitar with the Shins for a few years. Have done like random odd end things in other bands, and Divine Fits and the AAS, and I don't know. I try to keep things spicy.
Do you have a mug to mark every?
Oh, you're talking about my Shins mug? We were talking about how the Shins mug is the only proof that I was ever in the Shins, and then I just carry it around everywhere. This is not the Shins mug. This is Benson amps. I play Benson amps. There you go, Chris. There's your spot.
So for these, prior to Deep Sea Diver, these other projects that you jumped in on or brought in on as a guitarist, how does something like that come about? So, like, did you pursue those? Did they see your other work? Like, what made that possible?
Yeah, so I grew up in LA, or Orange County, and spent a lot of time in LA, especially when I first started playing shows. And I met the musical director for Beck at the time, Brian LeBarton. He came to a few shows that I had played out in the area, and he reached out to me around the time Beck was looking for a band, saying, send me, references or like people that you would recommend for the band. I'm like, scouring the earth or whatever. And it's a pretty small community of, the musician world. And so I sent off a few names, and I didn't even think about, I should try out. At the time I was on a major label doing my own solo thing, but it wasn't going very well. And so I sat on it for a few weeks, and then a few weeks later I was like, why don't I try out? It'll just be a fun experience. And then that fun experience of trying out turned into 3 auditions, and then getting it on my 23rd birthday, doesn't matter. But that's how, oftentimes it's just, I never knew that befriending Brian would lead to this, which would then open up so many other doors to play for other people and to figure out that I wanted ultimately to, have my own band and career. So
when you started doing your own solo project, Deep Sea Diver, what prompted that? I mean, had that been in the works for a while and you just had put it off to join these other bands and projects? Or? Yeah,
I think I was fatigued, when I was on the major label. I definitely, the Beck thing was not an escape away, but just that, I wanted a diversion from that world. And so I started thinking, okay, well, I still have all these songs that are unreleased, but I don't want to do, like, go under, at the time, it was just Jessica Dobson's solo project, and it's like, I need to call it something else because it has a stigma of just this past that I didn't want to have wrapped up in that current time. And so, yeah, I think, like, around 2009, right after the Beck gig ended, was when I started thinking about the moniker of Deep Sea Diver, which then became the band.
Is there any backstory, or was it just kind of like a fun?
I don't have any backstory for the band name other than it was a song that I had written after reading. I think it was like some Bukowski poem or something like that. I called it Deep Sea Diver, the song, and then ended up, stealing that from it. Band names, I think, are mostly ridiculous, and, you know, I guess if I had the chance to do it again, I may have renamed it, but
no.
In the early days, what I enjoyed the most was the actual process of being introduced to the studio world, which, you know, was my first foray into it. Like, the first demos that I got to record were with Richard Swift and his band, because we had befriended each other in Orange County. And so they kind of, like, opened up my eyes to, like, you know, getting out of, I was just working in, like, garage band at my house, and then to be in a studio environment and to have to rise to the occasion of, I guess just, like, not just being able to play my parts, but, like, really investing in them. And if I wanted to learn how to write synth parts, like, taking a synth home and playing it for a month so I could learn not just the stock sounds, but how to program my own synth sounds and, like, make it the most me. And it opened up, like, my producer mind, which I didn't know was there. And so that was, like, very thrilling and exciting for me as a young person.
Yeah.
And
was that scary at all?
No, it wasn't scary. I don't know, I was 19 years old. It was just, like, a new horizon. Yeah. I was never, like, an intimidated person in the studio. I would ask a lot of questions and probably look stupid sometimes, but they were all pretty kind to me about it and just, like, wanted to show me the ropes. Yeah. So, and then from the Beck thing, that definitely, like, propelled me to be a better guitar player in general, and, like, just effects wise and all these new things I was introduced to, and learning, like, getting inside the mind of, like, Smokey Hormel, like the guitar player on Sea Change, getting inside of his head and how he wrote those parts and getting to play them live, and, like, that was crazy. And I could feel the guitar muscle, like, get stronger. And in the Shins, I feel like I learned how to become a better songwriter, kind of by osmosis of learning James's songs. And just, like, it felt like another kaleidoscope world of effects and parts and just, like, different chord changes that I had, you know, not really messed around with yet or whatever. So that was awesome. And then in my own band, it's just oh man, wow. It's taking all of those things, and then also it's my band, so it's personal. Yeah. So, and then I'm married to the drummer, and we write songs together, and apart from each other, and it's just, like, taking all the things I've learned and trying to apply them in a way that feels substantial and fresh and exciting to us. But it is a lot harder when you are in charge of the business aspect of it, and when you're trying to grow your own baby.
It, just on a side note, it's very evident that all those pieces have made their way into your personal work, like the songwriting, the guitar, the producer ear, like, refining it.
Thank you.
It doesn't feel dislocated, like, oh, it was this one thing and this other thing. It feels like all of it kind of built
cool.
Your
That's
project,
awesome.
which is nice to hear, like, oh, we can grow.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
That's
yeah.
nice.
Gosh, I was just talking about that, like, the other day. Like, we put so much work into, we've just, like, been focusing on getting the live show ready. And this time around, in rehearsals, we went places that we hadn't gone before, and, like, pushed ourselves, even in just, like, with movement on stage, and, like, getting off of my pedal board, where I have a pedal now that it helps me not have to, like, toe tap around. It gets me more focused on singing and, like, being engaging with everybody, which is what I desire, rather than like being focused on the effects that I have to change and like kind of like hopping around. It's pretty sweet. But yeah, we rehearsed in a completely different way this time around, and on the last show we did, like, there's just like nothing better than like when you set out to do something, you're like, we want to elevate the live show, we want to do whatever it is, and you actually see it in real time happening, and you're performing, and you're like, damn, it worked. Yeah, totally. Not everything does. Yeah, so it felt really good.
When something works, that payoff was, I think that's encouraging to move forward when you realize that there can be that switch that changes up. When you say you the rehearsals or the practices went differently, was the biggest difference that you guys were intentionally practicing like movement during like what we're gonna look like during the show?
Not like necessarily in a way like a contrived, like you're gonna do this move,
like choreography.
Yeah, totally. And no, I'm not knocking choreography, like so many good performers do choreography, but I think it was just like more of a, not a hyper awareness, but just an awareness of like, you know, everyone when they're kids, you know, or a lot of people, at least I did, I sang in front of the mirror a million times, or like, how do I actually look when I hold a guitar? And it's like, can sound cheesy to talk about, of just like, what am I like emanating, or what am I giving off to people, like, and what do I want to communicate? And I think that's like, the question is not like, how do I look, but like, what am I trying to communicate? Do I want people to feel free in the audience? Then I need to have a more free posture, and like, I'm gonna actually start playing a wireless guitar so I can go into the audience and like see people eye to eye, and just like, so that was the question, is just like, you know, what are we trying, what kind of surprise elements do we want in the show, and what are we trying to communicate? And like, but some of my favorite performers are Nick Cave, which he's very much like a one-on-one performer, looks you right in the eye, like he's all about the people in the front row. And I think like he's been a huge influence on the way that I want to carry myself. I don't know, that actually sounds like kind of a sterile word for it. I just like, I guess let go would be the right word. So yeah, and all of us try to have that in mind of like, what are we trying to communicate? What's the goal here? And like, and then how can we just sound better? How can we make these songs not tighter, but more wild? And like, yeah, totally. The moments you feel the most free on stage is the work you put in before. And then you're not in your head about anything. Yeah. And so you're able to be free.
I think you nailed it when you said the greatest concern is, what are we communicating? Because I think like even singing in front of the mirror, or how am I holding the guitar, or where am I moving or not moving on the stage, or anything, is not wanting to have some sort of contrived odd performance. And it's like, I don't care if I look weird, I just want to make sure I'm aware of what I'm putting out there. Totally. So if it looks odd, I don't want to be surprised by it later and look back and go, my posture, my demeanor is not what I intended on putting out there. So
for sure, totally. And it's like it's such a fun thing to push yourself into the outer limits, and then try stuff that like fails too, and be like, okay, I did it, and it makes the next thing less scary to try. Yeah.
Do you mind sharing a failure? Ooh. I mean, it doesn't have to be an on stage. It could be, because I'm just trying to get at like the what and the why of your art and craft, and a lot of that is the growth, and which means there's a lot of attempts, I'm assuming, for you to be as great as you are. There's been a lot of trying.
It has to be that way, and I'm trying to get less and less afraid of those failed attempts, or like the aftermath of something that you so genuinely believe would work and then doesn't. It's like, I actually think about this a lot, because I think probably the most common example of what you're asking about is in songwriting, you know, taking something to the end, being okay with it as an unfinished and imperfect, because it'll never be perfect, little baby in a bubble when it first starts, and you know, you see this vision for the song, or you work for that vision and you try to get it there. And sometimes it's like one of those things where you're convinced like this is the best song I've ever written. You think that, and then you record it, and at the very end you're like, I don't even think this is a B-side. Like, I probably will never listen to this again. But you might take an element of it later for a different song. But it's in that process of, like, learning how to trust my instincts and also holding in the balance of, like, oh, wait, but I have felt so strongly about things that in the end I ended up not really loving that much. Or never wanted to hear again. Like, what was that? Was that, like, and how do I continue to trust my instincts if some of those instincts have led me to ditch something? Yeah. And so, I've had to think and learn a lot from that, and I think it's a lie not to continue to trust your instincts, like, because all of that time spent writing that song that maybe was a disaster in the end is worthwhile. So, I think it's, like, not wearing that on my shoulders of, like, well, that was a waste of time, or, like, it's like you should have thousands of failures as a songwriter, and, like, they're trophies. They're not to be, like, shamed about or whatever. But I still struggle with that, too. I'm not above it.
The intuition has to be built somehow, but But if it's, especially if it's personal songwriting can be, I think that's maybe why, I can only speak for myself, why it cuts further than other things where I find out, like, either it was an outright failure or, like, it was just disappointing because it wasn't what I had aspired to
totally.
be. But I know for myself, I've probably been more sensitive towards those failures because you're like, oh, I made this.
Yeah.
And, like, I trusted my intuition, my gut, felt like this was something. I moved forward with it, and then that same gut said, nah, you're right. Which one of you is right?
Totally.
Are both of you right? Is this just a different part of the timeline?
It's completely a mind trip.
Yeah. When it comes to rehearsals and, I mean, it's your band. Like, how much of the management of your bandmates and peers, and there's the dynamic of being married to the drummer, like, how does that play out? Like, what kind of energy do you have to put towards your band being healthy?
Yeah, I think good leadership, which, like, Peter and I share in, and, like, there's also been, to kind of spiderweb off of the failure aspect of it, like, a lot of failures on our part of, like, oh, that's a bad way to lead a band, or, it's so much better to lead by encouragement and hope than, like, focusing on what we did wrong or whatever it is. And so we try to, like, Peter and I try to have, like, very defined responsibilities of, like, how to keep us all emotionally healthy, and we talk about it a lot, like, as a band, because, I mean, the most common things is bands break up, other things don't work out, like, musically, but it's very easy to break up a band, and we're all best friends, and that takes a lot of work. So and then we have, like, pretty defined roles. Like, it differs from when we're on tour. I delegate so much stuff out because I also tour manage us, and I can't do it alone, and I'm really thankful for the guys and what they take on.
You said that you're the tour manager.
Yeah, I'll do that. I've just, like, literally just, like, that's another thing probably learned over the years of just, like, watching good and bad tour managers for bigger bands and just kind of gleaning off of that. I would like to not be the tour manager for future tours because it's so much nicer to show up and just be told, like, this is where you need to be. This is when you can eat. This is who's going to be doing merch, like, blah, blah, blah. But, because I know I've put my time in. So I'm ready to hand it off. Yeah. Yeah.
You admitted recently that the band is under either new management or now under label management?
Just new management. Okay. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have new management and a booking agent that we've been working with for the last couple of years. That just, it's just so lovely to be working with these people and what they bring and their expertise in their craft.
Yeah. When for artists or bands like yours who are earlier on in their process, when do you think is an essential time for them to to kind of make that investment and bring other people on board with
For
their
management
expertise?
booking.
And when is it good for them just to figure it out themselves to get
yeah, totally. That's such a good and like elusive question. Like there's no right answer to that.
The point, like,
yeah,
5 years in, switch up idea.
Yeah, totally. And I think the best advice that I could give to any young band is don't ever wait to book your own shows or to try to get in front of people because you are afraid that you don't have a booking agent or a manager or a publicist or whatever. It's like, I think many people try to curate their image before they actually put stuff out and like connect with people, with human beings, which is the most important thing. And I think that many people in their career are surprised by what leads them to that next step. Like for us, it was a myriad of things that we could have never guessed would have gotten us in front of, KEXP, the radio station, or, different labels, and, why 5 booking agents came to our record release show. It was just like, it wasn't because we invited them, it's because KEXP played the song, and then this happened, and then this, and you can't plan that stuff. You just have to be ready. And also sometimes having management isn't the best thing for you. It's like you have to, think about the finances of things, or, do you have the time to manage yourself? Maybe that's better. Maybe you have a clearer vision for yourself than anybody else would if you handed it off. Or maybe you need that time management and that structure. And so it's like, yeah, I definitely don't go around preaching to bands like, you should get management. Or it's like, get it when it feels right. Or like, and you can't get it. You should be approached. Like, and then you have to be wary of people that approach you as well. There's a lot I could say about.
It seems just right that the idea is make sure at all costs that you are putting out music content that you believe in, that can connect with people.
Totally.
Like bottom line.
Yeah.
Like don't get ahead of yourself. Like plan, prepare, but if the idea is just to create this image that's put out before you've actually are it, that you yourself will be stuck because you haven't actually found the people.
Totally. Yeah, no need to put the cart before the horse. Just like, it's so much better if you build something, and then the people that you have that are investing in you, they understand that history, and hopefully want to honor that and like elevate it.
That's so rad that people came out to your show. Did you choose your booking agent from one of those? Well,
that was our old booking agent.
Okay.
And they were, I think, all from the same company, because there was a big company up here at the time. They've now merged, as everybody does these days. It was, I think, word got out, and there was a little fire in the air, and so, or that's not the right, whatever, it doesn't matter.
What's funny is I felt that. I was like,
you felt it?
Yeah, fire in the air.
Does this make sense? Fire in the air. There was a spark in it, Momentum is everything. Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't, and you can't get too down on yourself when it's not there. Yeah. Can't overthink it.
Yeah. Do you want a refill?
Nah, I still have a quarter cup.
Who does the finances? Who looks after the numbers? And
me. Excel spreadsheets are my friend. My very short stint in bookkeeping for a podcast company taught me how to do, this is so interesting, pivot tables. And I'm totally joking about all this. I fucking hate doing
right
finances.
When you said it, I'm like, I gotta lean in.
Yeah, take notes. I learned how to settle tours, and I'm like, I should have a business manager, but I take on what I can, and at the end of the day, people get paid, and we somehow barely are able to pay our taxes every year. But
well, good job.
Thanks. Yeah.
You're like, we haven't gotten in trouble yet.
Yeah, no, it's like, that's like the hardest thing is like, as a self-employed person, we have an LLC or whatever. This is like all boring stuff, but like to remember all that money you have to put aside. Like you think you have this money, but you don't. It's like it's a lot better if you do it. Bands, pay your taxes quarterly. It'll help you. And it won't feel like such a blow at the end of the year. There's my financial advice to you. Being an artist, like, you're right. Some people get a thrill out of crunching numbers. But, like, and then for others, maybe it's like for me, I'm split personality, like 50-50 on everything, where I'm introvert, extrovert, more extrovert. But I, literally down to, like, my genetics, I'm, like, half Jewish, actually not totally, 50% Mexican, but basically Mexican and Jewish. Like, everything in me is split. And so when I'm doing the financials, like, then, it's good for my brain because it's something that I can see, like, right away and get reward from of, like, okay, A plus B equals C. Yes. Done. Like, this all makes sense to me. Whereas this song, can be an arduous and long-winded process. Yeah. And it's subjective, and as all art is, and like, so in money, it's like you either got it right or wrong, and like, and so, when it comes down to pay people out or whatever it is, and, and it's like, but at the same time, where it's nice to do something that is objective, it's also draining for me. Yeah,
you can tell that you have worked really hard in making your thing, like, it doesn't seem haphazard,
Intentionality.
Yeah. Thank you. Behind your practicing, behind your band, behind your presentation.
Sign up for my intentionality workshop.
Starts tomorrow for 3 easy payments.
I'll show you how to perform intentionally.
But like in a studio space, playing with other bands, and just working with people, and you don't get to. You get to choose your people. It's like you've chosen your band.
Yeah.
But you don't always get to choose, like, the mood that they're in their current state. Or if you're playing with other bands on tour, how do you take care of yourself and your practice and your people when you can't control everything?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because I think the word control, but, like, is the good thing to remember is that nothing is controllable. Ultimately, and that gets into a philosophical and a spiritual and just in a realistic realm of there's nothing that you can't control. And so, but you do get to choose what are the things that you're working on, intentionally on yourself, in your band, and like I think ultimately it's like, why am I on the road? Why am I in, like, the middle of the country with, like, a sore back? Because I've been, like, couch hopping for tour. And, like, why am I doing this? What is the end game here? And I think a sustaining end game for us is realizing that we can't be doing any of this, like, creating music as the ultimate self-fulfilling end game because it fails us. It can't give us everything we need. It's the small moments that are sustaining to me of meeting a person, talking to people backstage, talking to a musician who's struggling, and realizing, like, for me, life is about helping others. And, like, or at least that's what I'm trying to do and many times fail at. And so, like, if my art helps somebody, that is so much more fulfilling to me than, like, being like, I need to climb this musical ladder and be this status or whatever it is. And so I think ultimately I want to be much more aware of the people around me than, like, hoisting myself up first and foremost, which is just like an empty endeavor. So all that to say that I always have to say, like, I can be a little son of a bitch and really prideful and sometimes make it all about me. And that's what my band and Peter are very quick to humble me and like be honest about if I'm being a biatch. But
is it a look? Is it a call out?
It's usually a call out. Yeah, totally. We're all pretty honest with each other. yeah, ultimately, like, the end game here is, like, life is short, love others well, be there for people, and, like, we love the element of surprise, because we're so, as human beings, stuck in this, like, vortex of, like, this is what daily life is, and this is what it will always look like. Unless you have a buddy or an experience or a friend or family member who just be like, no, life doesn't have to look this way. There are, you know, things that you may have lost sight of, or yeah, I don't know, just that, like, youthful joy that I think that a lot of us, like, have, you know, unfortunately have had dimmed by whether it's social media or, like, what we're focusing on, and, like, where our gaze is here when it could be here.
Yeah.
So that's, like, that might have also sounded really new agey, but
no, I feel like that sounds life-saving
okay.
for a lot of people to.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, things feeling less, like, when you get caught in a rut, or what did you say, like, you become, like, the numbness can often be, I mean, it can just be numbness, or it could be devastating, where people are like, I don't see this being anything new or better. Yeah. So I think I take that very seriously. Like, if you can lift someone's gaze even just up a bit long enough to have a different conversation. Yeah. I honestly think that'd be actually really life-saving. I mean, maybe I'm speaking for myself. Or, like,
no, totally.
Like, where you go, okay, like, this doesn't have to just be where I was sitting in my brain for the last, I don't know, however amount of time.
Yeah. Gosh, yeah. I've been in that cycle so many times, and I'm very grateful for, you know, the experience of getting through that, trudging through, where it's like, you know, the last experience I had was when I quit smoking and everything just went black. And I was like, and I also had a lot of stuff I needed to deal with. And it took quite a bit of time for me to, like, crawl out of the hole, and it wasn't just my own doing. There's a lot of different voices of wisdom and people around me, and, like, me trying to seek out, you know, listening to different podcasts, or delving more into reading again, and just, like, I don't know, creating these different pockets of being able to breathe and, like, receive new information when everything was just, like, in this, like, cloudy little vortex.
What are you reading?
I love this David Lynch biography / autobiography that Peter got me, and I'm a huge Lynch fan. This book is so interesting because every chapter of the biography is followed by Lynch answering to that chapter. So it's, like, his own words, like, his own experiences, and it just fills in the gaps in a way that you would never get from exclusively from an autobiography or biography. Yeah. So it's really cool. It's, like, a very cool conversation. But that Tweedy's biography or autobiography is really cool. I just started that. I'm trying to think of a fiction that I've read this last year. It's totally escaped me. I read a lot of poetry. I shouldn't say a lot. That was a lie. I read a good amount.
I have a lot of half-read books.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna confess. A lot of bookmarked, where I'm, like, a chapter away from ending, and then I go, oh, that was interesting.
Yeah.
I should be reading that.
Yep.
I should probably finish those books. Maybe that'll be, like, my summer goal.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh,
Are you from LA? California?
Yeah, Orange County.
Okay.
Yeah, but spent a lot of time in LA.
So when did you, maybe a little bit, like, where you grew up, and when did you make the move to the Pacific Northwest?
I grew up in La Habra, California. There's, like, I'm definitely not a history buff regarding my town, but that's where I grew up. And it's, like, kind of pocketed between, I always tell people it's near Disneyland. It's, like, 10-15 minutes away. And
it's a good reference point.
Yeah, everybody knows where that is. So, but it was, like, near LA. Would go to LA all the time as a kid, or, you know, as soon as I could drive. Start seeing shows, start playing out, and then I lived in Long Beach for a little while, like, around the Beck touring time, and then Peter, my husband, we started dating when I was living in Long Beach, and then we got married, lived there for a year, and I was not ready to move, or I hadn't even really thought of it, and he brought up the idea of moving here, which is, like, he's from here. or he's from the Northwest. And I kind of fought it at first, and then because I had I had such a core group of friends that I had known since I was a child, and so moving away just seemed very daunting. But came here, and I think it was probably the best thing we could have done. It's easier to set yourself apart here versus being a band in LA, where it's a lot more sceney and it could be a strange way or more competitive. But it was nice to be embraced by his friends, and it definitely took time to make my own friends up here. But it was a good move.
What was the first paid job you ever had? Do you remember?
Yeah. This place called Score with an exclamation point at the end. I think so. And it was a tutoring center for kids.
Yes.
Score. Yeah. I also hawked kettle corn at big, what are the
carnival? No.
Cars that jump mounds and stuff with the big tires.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Not big. I can't.
Big wheels.
Monster
wheels.
Truck?
Monster trucks.
Yeah.
Monster wheels?
Yeah. I would hawk kettle corn at monster truck rallies. Sell beer in the stands, and definitely sneak some, and just watch, and hang out with my friends. It was very fun. I was 15.
What was it like growing up in a Jewish Mexican household?
So my parents adopted me when from birth, and so my dad is mostly English. Dobson is an English-Irish name, I think. My mom's Mexican. And my mom grew up Catholic, but didn't raise us in the Catholic Church. I didn't grow up in a Jewish Mexican household.
Also,
but
was that too personal of a question?
No,
okay,
I don't care. And I really appreciated growing up where I did. Long Beach, I think, is the third most diverse city in the country. Maybe it's changed since the last time I looked at the statistic, and someone will probably write in the comments. It's the 20th or something, but it's a very diverse, beautiful city, and I really cherish that. With my friend groups growing up, and no, I loved my childhood.
Well, you kind of already mentioned this with the end goal.
Mm-hmm.
But what for your personal art, and then collectively as a band, or I guess that's just a person, you can answer these separately if you feel like they're different, but what would you hope your legacy is going to be as Jessica or as Deep Sea Diver?
I think it would be the same answer that I gave, or a very similar, maybe just differently worded. I think ultimately in life, I tell Peter all of this is I just want to be helpful. That is what brings me the most joy. Whether it's I give lessons to kids, and I just love and cherish their just eagerness to learn, and just dang, I have something that I can impart to you, and you can do whatever you want with that. And music should be fun, and just I don't know, applying that to everything I'm doing, and it brings me a lot of joy, to help others. And so I would hope that it would be a legacy that's not me centric, but doing things that brought other people joy and helping others along the way.
What's next for Deep Sea Diver? What's coming up?
Gotta figure out business.
Whoa.
We're working on figuring out the plan for this next record and the release of it. What kind of music videos we want to do. We're in that creative part of it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for talking with me.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks for the coffee.
In my own home.
Yes.
This is my house.
Oh.
Yes.
There's a dog named Henry sitting next to me.
Henry, do you want some cheese?
His eyes just maybe.
Yeah. Do you want some cheese? Yep. Come here. Come see Mama. Come here. Up. Give me kisses. Kiss mama. Stop stretching. Kiss mama. No. Thank you. You get that?
Yeah.
Dobson, and you are watching Arts and Crafts with Bo. Another one. What's so funny?
I just realized I think I'm the one that makes this moment weird. Because I watch people through the video and I'm like, maybe no one else has been weird. It's been me, like everyone else is nailing it. I'm like, oh, this is so funny.
Alright, here we go, I'll do it more.
Yeah. I just want to look.